Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. You're watching Eagle News International on tonight's headlines. President Vladimir Putin confirmed that Russia has indeed sent nuclear arms to Belarus, a country that shares its border with Ukraine, during an annual economic forum which excluded certain media organizations that Russia considers unfriendly. The president revealed that the first nuclear warheads had been delivered to Belarus. In a significant move to improve bilateral relations, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken expressed his intentions to foster better communication during his upcoming visit to China, emphasizing the need to address misperceptions and avoid miscalculations. Blinken aims to navigate the intense competition between the two countries through sustained diplomacy.
About our very real.
The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology has reported that Mayon Volcano remains under alert level 3 as its volcanic activity continues. And later, prepare to delve deeper into the mysteries of the cosmos as we welcome a distinguished guest, an astronomer whose profound insights have illuminated the realms of the unknown, widely regarded by his students as the father of Philippine astronomy education.
Get knowledge from your telescope.
And we have breaking news update, the latest information on the recent developments involving Russia and its ally, Belarus. President Vladimir Putin confirmed that Russia has indeed sent nuclear arms to Belarus, a country that shares its border with Ukraine, during an annual economic forum which excluded certain media organizations that Russia considers unfriendly. President Putin revealed that the first nuclear warheads had been delivered to Belarus. Take a look.
Первые ядерные заряды доставлены на территорию Беларуси. Но только первые. У нас это первая часть. Но до конца лета, до конца года мы эту работу выполним целиком и полностью. Но это как элемент именно сдерживания, чтобы все, кто задумываются о том, чтобы нанести нам стратегическое поражение, не забывали об этом обстоятельстве.
Tactical nuclear arms are battlefield weapons with a smaller yield compared to long-range strategic weapons. Tactical nuclear weapons come in a range of sizes, with the smallest ones measuring at 1 kiloton or less. To put this into perspective, a single kiloton is equivalent to the explosive power of 1,000 tons of TNT. On the other end of the spectrum, the largest tactical nuclear weapons can reach sizes as substantial as 100 kilotons. To provide a historical reference, the atomic bomb dropped by the U.S. on Hiroshima in 1945 had a yield of approximately 15 kilotons. Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko has permitted his territory to serve as a launch pad for Russia's Ukraine offensive, making it a matter of concern for neighboring countries such as Poland, Lithuania, as well as Ukraine itself, and the European Union and NATO members in the region. Putin clarified that these weapons are intended as a deterrent to anyone who might contemplate inflicting a strategic defeat upon Russia. It's also worth noting that Belarusian troops have been undergoing training on nuclear-capable Russian missile systems since April, further intensifying concerns regarding the situation. In response to Russia's claims regarding the storage of a tactical nuclear weapon in Belarus, Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated that the Biden administration is actively monitoring the situation. However, he emphasized that the U.S. currently sees no justification to alter its own nuclear posture. Take a look.
Well, with regard to the reports about Belarus, we've seen comments that were made in the last few hours. We'll continue to monitor the situation very closely and very carefully. We have no reason to adjust our own nuclear posture. We don't see any indications that Russia is preparing to use a nuclear weapon. The President said again this week that we remain committed to the defense of NATO, every inch of its territory. So that is our North Star. And we're very focused on that. I would just note that one of President Putin's claims for starting his brutal invasion of Ukraine, one of the many rationales he gave at various points, was ostensibly to prevent the threat of Ukraine reacquiring the nuclear weapons that it gave up when the Soviet Union dissolved, and Ukraine voluntarily gave up the weapons it inherited along with Belarus and Kazakhstan. So it would be rather ironic, among many other things, for President Putin to now be talking about putting nuclear weapons on the territory of a neighboring state, again, including a state that gave up the nuclear weapons that it inherited when the Soviet Union dissolved. And as for Belarus itself, this is just another example of Lukashenko making irresponsible, provocative choices to cede control of Belarus's sovereignty against the will of the Belarusian people.
Традиционные отрасли нашего сотрудничества, но езжу к ним. Приветствую, если позволите, от вашего имени.
Belarusian President Lukashenko justifies Russian nuclear weapon deployment as a crucial measure to ensure national security. In a statement on Tuesday, Lukashenko stressed the necessity of this decision to prevent any foreign military presence on Belarusian soil. He also emphasized that it was his urgent demand to Moscow to secure his country's safety and sovereignty. And here is the latest information on a statement made by Russian President Vladimir Putin during the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. During his address, President Putin issued a warning stating that F-16 fighter jets would burn if the West proceeded to provide Ukraine with advanced military support, which he referred to as the most sophisticated material to date. He also emphasized the potential ramifications of transferring F-16 aircraft, stating that it poses a serious danger of NATO becoming further entangled in the ongoing armed conflict.
Двух танков. Танки горят. Несколько танков уничтожено. И это в том числе леопарды. И вчера было то же самое. И вчера были леопарды. Они горят. Также будут гореть и F-16. Сомнений нет. Но если они будут располагаться на авиабазах за границей Украины, а использоваться в боевых действиях, мы должны будем посмотреть на то, как нам поражать и где нам поражать те средства, которые используются в боевых действиях против нас. Это серьезная опасность дальнейшего втягивания в НАТО в этот вооруженный конфликт.
The St. Petersburg International Economic Forum has garnered attention for being boycotted by Western leaders for the second consecutive year due to Russia's offensive actions in Ukraine. Notably absent from the forum are leaders from Western nations, while the leaders of China and India are also not in attendance. Meanwhile, President Putin made a bold declaration stating that the era of an ugly, essential neo-colonial international system has come to an end. He expressed his perspective on the current global order, implying that it no longer serves the best interests of nations. Take a look.
Здравый смысл, энергия бизнеса, объективные рыночные законы работают сильнее, чем текущая политическая конъюнктура. Это говорит о том, что уродливая по своей сути неоколониальная международная система прекратила свое существование, а многополярный мировой порядок, напротив, укрепляется. Это неизбежный процесс. Не менее скажу, если иностранные производители захотят вновь вернуться, прийти на наш рынок, такие разговоры мы слышим все чаще и чаще, мы двери ни для кого не закрываем. Конкуренции, безусловно, никто не боится, а она, как известно, двигатель прогресса и торговли. Будем создавать для них необходимые условия для работы в России.
Furthermore, President Putin emphasized that Russia remains a significant player in the global market. Despite the obstacles encountered, he reiterated Russia's commitment to an open economy as one of its fundamental principles. Rather than resorting to self-isolation, Russia has chosen to expand its interactions with dependable and responsible partners in countries and regions that are currently driving the global economy forward. President Putin also underscored the importance of these partners, considering them as pivotal participants in shaping the markets of the future. A delegation of African leaders held a crucial meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky earlier today, and their primary message to both Russia and Ukraine was a strong call for de-escalation and negotiations following a series of missile strikes that targeted Kiev, forcing the delegation to seek shelter.
Мені здається, що людина неадекватна, і тому що людина не готова бачити мир. Людина хоче стерти і зруйнувати повністю державу Україну. І якщо такі наміри у людини, то у мене багато запитань, яке спілкування, який діалог з цією людиною.
This war must be settled, and there should be peace through negotiations and diplomatic means. Is that we are here to listen both to President Zelensky, and tomorrow we'll be listening to President Putin, and we do so with deep respect for the people of Ukraine, which we have expressed to President Zelensky, but also in recognition of the proposals that they have put forward as a peace formula.
In a significant move to improve bilateral relations, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken expressed his intentions to foster better communication during his upcoming visit to China, emphasizing the need to address misperceptions and avoid miscalculations. Blinken aims to navigate the intense competition between the two countries through sustained diplomacy. Again, let's listen in.
To establish open and empowered communications so that our two countries responsibly manage our relationship, including by discussing challenges, by addressing misperceptions, and avoiding miscalculations. To advance U.S. interests and values, and those we share with allies and partners around the world, including speaking directly and candidly about our very real concerns on a range of issues. And third, to explore the potential for cooperation on transnational challenges, global economic stability, illicit synthetic drugs, climate, global health, where our country's interests intersect and the rest of the world expects us to cooperate. Intense competition requires sustained diplomacy to ensure that competition does not veer into confrontation or conflict. And again, that is what the world expects of both the United States and China.
Now, Blinken's visit to Beijing, scheduled for Sunday and Monday, marks a significant milestone as it represents the first trip by a top U.S. diplomat to China in nearly 5 years. Now, in response to the upcoming visit of U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to China, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin expressed China's intentions to firmly assert its position and address its concerns regarding China-U.S. relations. During the scheduled visit on Sunday, China is determined to safeguard its interests and ensure that its perspective is heard. Take a look.
The U.S. views China as a primary rival and most consequential geopolitical challenge. This is the major strategic misjudgment. There is competition between the two countries in areas such as economy and trade, but there should be no vicious zero-sum competition. Still less should there be practices or contain or suppress one another in the name of competition and deprive China of its legitimate rights to development. This is not responsible competition, but irresponsible bullying. It will only push the two countries towards confrontation and create a divided world. Let me stress again that the U.S. needs to give up the illusion of dealing with China from a position of strength. China and the U.S. must develop relations on the basis of mutual respect and equality, respect each other's difference in history, culture, social system, and development paths, and accommodate each other's core interests and major concerns. The U.S. keeps emphasizing the need for dialogue and communication and building guardrails and putting a floor under China-U.S. relations. China's door to cooperation, communication, and dialogue is open. The communication between the two countries has never stopped. Communication needs to address the concerns of both sides. It needs to serve an actual purpose and help provide solutions. What is unacceptable is to ask for communication and meanwhile damage the other side's interests. One cannot say one thing and do another. China again urges the U.S. to deliver on President Biden's positive statements, stop interfering in China's internal affairs and damaging China's interests, stop containing and suppressing China, and work with China to remove obstacles, create conditions, and bring China-U.S. relations gradually to the track of stable growth.
And in a significant trilateral meeting, the national security advisors of the U.S., Japan, and the Philippines have reached an agreement to enhance their defense cooperation. The meeting, which marked the first of its kind, aimed to strengthen the ties between the three nations and address regional security concerns. Take a look. Now, according to a joint press release, Jake Sullivan, representing the Biden administration, held discussions with Takeo Akiba, the head of the Japan National Security Secretariat, and Eduardo Año, the National Security Advisor in the Philippines, in Tokyo on Friday. The focus of their talks revolved around coordinated maritime activities, including joint naval exercises in the Indo-Pacific region. This collaboration builds upon the recent successful joint training operation involving the Coast Guards of the three countries earlier this month. The trilateral meeting takes place amid U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's upcoming visit to China, where he aims to stabilize the sometimes tense relationship between the U.S. and the world's second largest economy. Both Japan and the Philippines have faced challenges in balancing their economic ties with China, territorial disputes, and their allegiance to the U.S. as a military ally. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology has reported that Mayon Volcano remains under Alert Level 3 as its volcanic activity continues. According to PHIVOLCS, the lava flow from the summit crater has extended to a distance of 1.5 kilometers. As of 5 a.m. today, PHIVOLCS stated that there is a very slow effusion of lava from the summit crater, leading to the formation of lava flows and the collapse of debris in the southern parts and gullies of Mayon Volcano. The Mayon Volcano Network has detected 2 additional volcanic earthquakes, along with 280 rockfall events and 9 dome collapse pyroclastic density currents, or PDC, lasting from 2 to 4 minutes. PHIVOLCS has also reported that moderate degassing continues from the summit crater, resulting in steam-laden plumes rising approximately 100 meters before drifting westward. The volcano remains in a state of relatively high level of unrest, and PHIVOLCS warns that a hazardous eruption could still occur within days or weeks. PHIVOLCS further cautioned that heavy rainfall could trigger channel-confined lahars and sediment-laden steam flows in areas where the pyroclastic density currents have been deposited. Authorities are closely monitoring the situation and advising residents to remain vigilant. Mayon Volcano's current activity poses potential risks, and precautions are being taken to ensure the safety of those living in the surrounding areas. And Cyclone Biparjoy, a powerful tropical storm, unleashed widespread devastation in India's western state of Gujarat and along the southwest coast of neighboring Pakistan. Take a look. Now, the cyclone made landfall on Thursday, bringing heavy downpours and strong winds. However, due to mass evacuations and extensive preparations, both countries managed to save lives. In India, 2 individuals lost their lives and 22 others sustained injuries. These casualties occurred before the cyclone's landfall. Remarkably, Pakistan reported no deaths. The relatively low death toll is attributed to the success of mass evacuation, as both countries moved over 180,000 people from low-lying coastal areas to safer locations. India alone evacuated more than 100,000 individuals, while Pakistan relocated 82,000 people. Coastal businesses and transportation were suspended in the anticipated path of the cyclone, with police and paramilitary forces deployed to ensure people remained indoors. Named Biparjoy, meaning disaster in Bengali, the cyclone made landfall in India's port city of Jakhau as a Category 3 equivalent hurricane on Thursday evening. While the loss of human lives remained relatively low for a major storm, Biparjoy left a trail of destruction as it moved inland overnight. The cyclone brought torrential rainfall and gusts of up to 86 miles per hour, causing significant damage in its wake. Meanwhile, take a look at this. A devastating tornado tore through a town in northern Texas, causing widespread destruction and claiming the lives of at least 3 people, with reports of up to 100 others injured. The tornado, described as horrific, wreaked havoc as dangerous storms battered multiple southern and midwestern states, unleashing tornadoes, thunderstorms, and large hailstones. The affected areas, including parts of Colorado, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Florida, were under tornado, severe thunderstorm, and flash flood warnings. The town of Perryton in the Texas Panhandle faced the wrath of the fierce tornado, as witnessed in drone footage captured by storm chasers. Now, the footage revealed numerous buildings, including mobile homes, destroyed or damaged, trees uprooted, and vehicles overturned. Perryton Fire Chief Paul Dutcher confirmed the tragic news of 3 fatalities, while around 100 individuals received medical treatment at local hospitals for injuries ranging from minor to severe. Some patients were transferred to trauma centers to receive further care. Among the locations hit hard by the tornado was a trailer park, according to Chief Dutcher. Governor Greg Abbott swiftly responded, deploying critical emergency response resources to provide support and assistance to affected Texans in Perryton. Search and rescue teams, medical personnel, and utility crews are on the ground working tirelessly to restore electricity and water services. And the scorching heat wave in Beijing has reached unprecedented levels, with temperatures hitting a record high for mid-June. According to the China Meteorological Administration, the mercury soared to a blistering 39.4 degrees Celsius or 103 degrees Fahrenheit at Beijing's Nanzhao Observatory around 2:30 p.m. on June 16. The CMA has issued a warning to the public, urging them to stay indoors and take necessary precautions. The coming days are expected to bring more sweltering conditions, with temperatures anticipated to surpass 37 degrees Celsius in the city. The CMA advises residents to limit outdoor activities and remain vigilant against the risk of heat stroke. Beijing is currently under an orange alert, the second highest warning level, due to the high temperatures. Meanwhile, 8 provincial capitals across the country have also recorded their highest temperatures of the year on Thursday, as reported by the official Xinhua news agency. In Hebei province, multiple locations are under a red alert, the highest warning level, due to temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius. The intense heat has even impacted road surfaces in Beijing, with temperatures exceeding a scorching 50 degrees Celsius. City meteorologist Lele warned of potential road damage, vehicle tire blowouts, spontaneous combustion, and other traffic accidents. In another development, Emperor Narujito has expressed his aspirations to deepen friendly relations between Japan and Indonesia. Now, this announcement he made ahead of his highly anticipated official visit to Indonesia. Again, let's listen in.
大戦においては世界の各国で多くの尊い命が失われ、多くの方々が苦しく悲しい思いをされたことを大変痛ましく思います。先ほども述べました通り、インドネシアとの関係でも難しい時期がありました。亡くなられた方々のことを忘れず、過去の歴史に対する理解を深め、 平和は愛する心を育んでいくことが大切ではないかと思います。戦後、我が国はインドネシアを含むアジア各国とともに国際社会の平和と繁栄のために力を尽くしてきました。先ほど述べましたように、我が国とインドネシアが外交関係を樹立して本年で65年を迎えます。これまでに重ねてきた両国の交流の歴史を踏まえながら、今回の訪問を契機として、両国間の友好親善がさらに深まることを願っております。
Now, during their stay in Indonesia from June 17 to the 23rd, Emperor Narujito and Empress Masako have a series of significant engagements lined up. The royal couple will pay their respects at the Kalibata Heroes Cemetery, located in southern Jakarta. Now, this solemn gesture will honor the national heroes of Indonesia, including Japanese veterans who chose to remain in the country after World War II and actively participated in its struggle for independence. Additionally, Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako will be guests at a luncheon hosted by President Joko Widodo and his wife. This year holds particular importance as it marks the 50th anniversary of friendship and cooperation between Japan and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN. Additionally, it commemorates 65 years of diplomatic relations between Japan and Indonesia. And finally, prepare to delve deeper into the mysteries of the cosmos as we welcome a distinguished guest, an astronomer whose profound insights have illuminated the realms of the unknown, widely regarded by his students as the father of Philippine astronomy education. He has left an indelible mark on the field, blazing a trail that led to the introduction of the first astronomy course in a Philippine university. Watch this. Imagine our ancestors looking up the night sky, thinking what those bright lights stuck in the firmament are telling them. The lights flicker and dance while infant meteors flit across the map of the sky. Our ancestors might ponder, it surely means something if we see these every night. We were more connected to nature then. Surely there were no skyscrapers to block our view of the upper firmament. Imagine your first time in a planetarium show, except that the planetarium dome is everywhere in the sky, majestic and endless. Our ancestors saw figures and people who reflected their dreams and aspirations. They saw in the sky a proto-science for navigating the seas, a proto-astronomy to bookend seasons for planting and harvesting. They most probably had their own pag-asa ethno-meteorologists predicting storms, bad seasons for agriculture, maybe even for marriages and special occasions. Early Pinoys rocked astronomy in ways that predated Western education. All these thoughts invaded the imagination of our ancestors, while the hours of dark nights stretched unimpeded by the gentle embers of bonfires. And then the dark skies moves away as day comes and the King Sun commands attention with its splendor. Present day, it's nighttime and we are locked away in our rooms, imagining the world of content streaming, doing TikTok videos, losing sleep over episodes of a Netflix series. The night skies miss the wide-eyed wonder and excitement of our ancestors. If only our ancestors would see how we ignore the majesty of the dark and endless firmament above the earth and the science it holds for our present and future. Time to find out more about the immense universe from one who is considered by many of his students as the father of Philippine astronomy education.
Hi, magandang
Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you again.
Yes.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
When was the last time I covered you yung sa solar flare po sa RTU?
I can't remember, siguro mga several years ago.
Several years ago?
Siguro mga 2016 yun or 2015. If
Good
I'm not
memory.
mistaken.
Yes, and we covered the solar flare. How have you been, sir, since then? Relax, sir. Come on.
I served 8 years RTU as president. And then after that, I served 4 years at Technological University of the Philippines as president. Pero after 44 years of working in the government, in the academic institution, I am now retired.
Dr. Jesus Rodrigo Torres is one of the top Filipino astronomers and planetary scientists in the country. He was a former president of Rizal Technological University, or RTU, where he headed the astronomy education and department there.
44 years.
44 years in government service.
How is it being retired, sir? How does it feel being...
Well, I think...
Don't you miss
ganun
teaching?
pa rin eh, as busy as ever. I still have a subject in the graduate school sa TUP. Just one subject. Pero most of the time, medyo ano na tayo... I just keep on reading and writing a book.
I know you've been writing books. How many books have you written, sir?
In astronomy, I think more than 30 books.
Wow.
While in other fields such as political theory, philosophy, literature, in English, I think mga 40 books na yan.
What do astronomers usually do? Can you please give us a glimpse of what astronomers really do?
Yes, in the first place, I am a member ng International Astronomical Union. It is an international association of professional scientists and astronomers. I think there are only 4 or 5 Filipinos who are members of the IAU. So as far as I am concerned, as an astronomer, I observe, I write what I observe, and most importantly, itong outreach, we teach people, we teach students in astronomy, and not only that, sometimes napupunta sa kung saan sa science eh. Kasi in astronomy, may kasabihan tayo eh, knowledge comes through the telescope. So, invariably, pagka ang isang bata nakita yung Saturn o Jupiter sa telescope, nagiging interested not only in astronomy but in science as well.
You get knowledge from your telescope. Can you tell us those knowledge that you got from your telescope?
Ay, ang dami. Ang dami. Too many to enumerate, pero it all boils down into one thing that we belong to a world that is tiny and insignificant as far as the universe is concerned. That this world, which is God's gift to us, is something that we should preserve because we don't have any other world. Looking at the stars, looking at the planets, even the sun and the moon, we know that we are responsible for the earth that has been given to us. Ganun yun eh.
Growing up as a child, did you really dream about being an astronomer?
Well, my father nung araw, I don't know where he was working. I think he was working in a construction company na kung saan napupunta sa Pilipinas. May inuwi na isang maliit na telescope. Actually, it's not a telescope. It's a geological alidade. It's still there, nandun sa may bintana. So, ang ginagawa ko, I pointed alidade to astronomical objects and then became interested in it. Pagkatapos, my father bought me a set of Collier's Encyclopedia, which I began reading at random. And then a subscription to National Geographic magazine. So early on, itong knowledge has been planted in me as important to my future life, parang gano'n. Importante sa buhay ang kaalaman. Astronomy is a very wide field kasi dati they limited astronomy to astrophysics. Pero ngayon, meron ng astrochemistry, the study of chemistry in relation to astronomy, astrobiology. Meron na tayong more specialized fields such as the study of the sun, lunar astronomy, planetary astronomy, and it's very important as far as the human race is concerned because it is the nearest object to the Earth. Very lately, na-develop itong ethno-astronomy.
Ethno?
The study of Filipino culture and the cultures of other nations in relation to astronomy.
Ano po yun?
Some people say na itong ethno-astronomy is just a collection of unfounded, unscientific beliefs. But if you study it, you will find na merong science behind our beliefs. Planting of crops. Nung araw, ano? The people who do not have any access to books look at the stars, makikita nila kung kailan dapat magtanim, kung kailan dapat hawanin yung field, kung kailan dapat mangisda, at saka yung setting of directions, particularly dito sa ibaba, sa southern Philippines, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi, Basilan. They can go to the southern seas, to Indonesia, to Malaysia, by just looking at the stars. So for example, the study of ethno-astronomy also involves the study of how the people in the Pacific, ito nasa Tahiti, itong nasa Guam, and the islands of the Pacific, how were they able to find their direction without compasses, without books, di ba? Without GPS, tinitingnan lang nila yung stars na gano'n, and then they knew where to go. Ganun yan eh. So itong stars and astronomy are linked to human existence. Ganun lang.
When you gaze into the skies, you're likely not just seeing stars, but also low Earth orbit satellites. They are so many that they look like a train of stars. Now closer to Earth, these children from Chile are enjoying the benefits. Between mountains, lakes, and forests lies the remote town of Sotomo in southern Chile, where thanks to the recently installed Starlink satellite, this local school has access to a stable internet connection for the first time.
La forma primera a mí ha sido pero un salto digamos a la rapidez, al acceso, y para mis niños también, porque ellos pueden conectarse, van a poder, estamos como esto es una prueba, estamos probando, ellos van a poder entrar a museos, conectarse a YouTube para poder ver videos educativos, conectarse a internet, buscar información, desarrollar proyectos, etc. O sea, es realmente un salto a lo que...
Starlink is Elon Musk's aerospace manufacturing project, along with other companies. Competition in the satellite internet market is rapidly intensifying. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos also announced he intended to launch some 3,200 satellites. And that's the trouble. The satellites are competing with modern astronomy.
Pagkatapos ngayon, astronomers are already complaining because they are observing the sky and then suddenly mayroong streak of light. Yun pala satellite, artificial satellites, biglang dadaan doon sa sinisilip nila, pinag-aaralan nilang object.
What are these satellites po?
Communication satellites, military satellites, ganun yan eh. So
nakikita niyo po yon when you're...
yes, even if you are even with the naked eye, pumunta kayo sa dark side, makikita niyo yung may gumagalaw na kung akala niyo bituin. Those are actually satellites.
One of the biggest problems we can say that the Earth is experiencing right now is climate change.
Astronomy research also has an impact on climate change, like, for example, heat and increasing temperatures can create significant issues with telescope cooling and affect the quality of astronomical observations.
Well, climate change, astronomy is very relevant to climate change, ano? Kasi itong mga estudyanteng kumukuha ng astronomy, alam naman natin mayroong subject na astronomy and meteorology. The interrelation between weather and astronomy. Kung ikaw ay nag-o-observe, you will be able to notice this. Kasi there are times na yung ordinary days na kung tawagin natin astronomy season, dahil maliwanag ang langit, biglang ngayon na iba na.
Meron palang astronomy season.
Sa mga amateur astronomers, ang astronomy season is usually from December to March. Maliwanag ang langit, clear and transparent. Pero recently, in many years, nakita ko maulap. Yung mga panahon na yun, maulap. There was a time when we could not engage in observation for many months during the astronomy season. Ibig sabihin, nagbabago ang klima. For example, if you go to Singapore, I tried several times na gigising ako madaling araw, titingnan ko, you see very few stars. With climate change, there are more violent typhoons and storms. Ano yung typhoon na yun? Yung from a tropical depression, sandaling-sandali. Ang tawag ng pag-asa rin ay explosive intensification. Ano yun? Dumaan dito sa gitna ng Luzon. I cannot remember the name of that typhoon.
He was talking about Karding with international name Noru, which intensified into a super typhoon last September 25. The typhoon made its first landfall in Quezon and then in Aurora, and it brought massive damage to homes and landscapes. And scientists are warning that such weather events are becoming more serious as a result of climate change.
So we have stronger typhoons. We have drought where it should not be occurring. We have too much rain where it should not be occurring. Ganun yan eh. We should be aware of this.
New Era University is the only private university here in the country that offers the course program of Bachelor of Science in Astronomy. Dr. Torres went up to see the telescopes in the astronomy department.
Pero 16 inch din to. Tapos naka-robotic mount siya. CGA Pro robotic mount ito. Ibig sabihin, kahit nandun tayo sa kabilang building, pwede tayo mag-observe. Dahil may wifi ito eh. These are state-of-the-art equipment. Ito, wala sa Pilipinas dito. I think only New Era has this 16-inch mid. Ito, meron sa RTU, but not this. Ito, mga refractor. And this, I think, is the biggest solar telescope in the country.
This is the biggest solar telescope in the country. And New Era has it?
Yes,
Wow.
only in New Era.
With all his success and vast achievements in the field of astronomy, Dr. Torres remains humble and considers his most humbling moment, yet greatest moment, was when he met Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, the INC Executive Minister.
Yung nung mag-observe kami, yung mag-inaugurate ng observatory, yun ang most memorable moment. Sabi niya, pagtulungan na natin ito. Itong astronomy. Opo. He was determined. Determinado si kahit dito sa science at astronomy. Design para protect ang astronomy at saka umiikot ito eh. Halimbawa, pag binuksan mo ito, the telescope nakatutok din sa opening. Pero it follows the rotation of the Earth. Kaya hindi na. Habang ito, pero umiikot din ang unti-unti yan. Itong takip.
Sa Philippines po ba nahirapan? In other countries, not so.
Not so. Kasi ang astronomy doon ay maraming universities na nag-o-offer
Yes,
ng astronomy.
but
Here there are still only 2. After so many years, dalawa pa rin lang. Dalawa pa rin lang na nag-o-offer.
included po ang New Era.
Including New Era. RTU and New Era pala.
RTU and New Era only. Wow. So mga pioneers po pala tayo, ang RTU and New Era University.
Still the pioneers.
Still the pioneers. Oo. So what is your message po to future astronomers?
Well, you just keep on studying, mag-aral kayong mabuti, keep on observing, keep on discovering new things. Nasa inyo yan. If you study hard, if you study with all your heart, pagdating ng araw, you will find yourself very useful sa community and to the human race. So my message is just keep on studying hard. Thank you.
Time is a precious gift. Each breath we take can be a great moment in our lives.
As always, I'll end the week on a thoughtful note. Our ability to look back and smile at our past is proof that God's plan is to keep us moving forward. This has been Eagle News International. I'm Alma Angeles. Stay alert, stay informed, because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.